how it feels, how it feels. Tell me how it feels when you pop another pill. Come on, tell me how it feels, how it feels. Do you do it for the chill? Do you do it for the thrill? Come on, tell me how it feels, how it feels. When you look up in the mirror, can you even say it's real? Wait, like, tell me how it feels.
What is pussy popping, you beautiful humans? My name is Ariane Andrew.
I'm Matt Dillon, and welcome to another piping hot episode of Sipping the Tea. Where we are, girl?
Where we sip the tea and our guests spill that tea.
Yeah.
Where's Mama? Where's your little partner in crime?
I think she's with Bonnie right now, so she's off and racing and living her best life around Miami. You know, where's Glitty? Is she making an appearance or no?
I don't know. She's in one of her houses in here, so she's living her best life sleeping.
Everybody's living their best life, but today's guest is definitely a slashy, but there's some exciting developments, I'll say, that everybody that's watching, like right now, y'all should wait right to the end. Dave Allen, my man, music producer, songwriter, artist. You know, I could keep going on, but like the head's going, like it's getting bigger.
You're gonna run out of slashes. Yeah.
Welcome, Dave. Thank you so much for coming on, bro.
Thank you guys for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course.
Yes. So we gonna dive right on in. We're in a brand new, fresh 2021. It's not like shit's really changed, but we like to focus on the positives. And since 2020 was an interesting year, what would you say was some things that you took away personally and with your career, the positives?
Yeah, I mean, it's the old cliche saying, right? Like for every negative, there's a positive. You got to look at the bright side, find the silver lining, all that stuff. So I'll skip that whole thing. But really, I think when everything stopped in, March and April, everybody had a very tough time realizing the things in their life, from relationships to could be money, could be things with work, happiness. And it was like a very real time for everybody to stop and take a good look at themselves. Are they happy? Are you where you want to be? Are your friends really your friends? And I think it was almost forcing everybody to figure out who you are. What do you want out of life? How are you going to get it? And I just took that as a wake-up call. Like, I think everyone did. What have you been saying you're going to do for all these years and you haven't? How long have you been putting something off? And then when you couple that with how much unfortunate death you see on the TV and all these people dying, you start to realize very quickly that life is short and the petty stuff doesn't matter. And really what matters is friends, family, and being self-fulfilled, feeling like your own happiness can come first. And so for me, I did pretty much what everyone else did, rather than, I would say in the beginning, there was like, okay, the first month was pretty depressing. It was really like the whole world had been turned upside down, but I'm not the type of person to stay down. And so I started figuring out, like, what am I cutting out of my life? What am I bringing into my life? How am I going to go about it? Let's get back to the drawing board, back to the basics of going after what you want. And so for me, it was a time to reflect on some past accomplishments, which I think a lot of people have a hard time doing, as well as set new goals for the future. And I try to, anybody that's in my circle can tell you, I try to make them feel the same way. Like, come on, like, let's not let this make us take a step back. We can appreciate where we've been. Let's move forward. Let's get it together and move forward. And so I would say that was my biggest takeaway. I would assume a lot of people have had the same experience. I would assume, Ari, when I talked to you, I know you kind of felt the same way. And so I just think that was the only way to look at it. Let's reevaluate, let's replan, let's restructure, let's pivot, and then keep figuring it out.
That Scorpio mentality right there.
That's right. Yeah, that's right.
Matt, who you over there talking to? This is what Sip and Be about. Somebody coming over there to say hello?
No.
Oh.
Leave the building, please. Welcome to Sipping the Tea.
This is what happened.
I appreciate Dave actually going a little deeper there and like kind of like not doing, and I do appreciate everybody that's come on and conversation we've all had about the lighter side of things and that deeper sense, but you actually just like skipped the bullshit, frankly, and the verbiage of like describing the feelings and actually digging into the process that you went through. So I actually really have to commend you on that, because it shows that you really, you know, and your work ethic and where you're at now and where you're moving towards definitely shows that shift that you had. I appreciate your vulnerability in like, yeah, it was a shitty like month to kind of pop into that gear, but being able to do so, I think, you know, I think can really inspire a lot of people. So I appreciate you actually showing that vulnerability just now. Really, really do.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I just know a lot of people are feeling that way, and it's not easy. Even, by the way, still not easy, as Ariane mentioned, even in 2020. And yeah, I'm just like not a sugarcoat kind of guy. It's like, if this is what the situation is, how are we going to make this work? We can all sit in our bed, and God knows we can all drink a lot of tequila and just, you know, but at some point you got to get it together for yourself. No one, I keep this in the back of my mind all the time. No one cares as far as like whether you fall by the wayside or you keep moving. It's your life. You're the one in control. And so you better get it together. You better surround yourself with people that can help you get there, and vice versa. And that's just it. That's the only way out of this entire thing from my perspective, because, you know, I've worked hard on it. It's not easy. Anybody can tell you it's not easy to get to a spot where you feel like you're in control, and you're going to have bad days too. You're going to have the days where you're just like over it, but the next day comes and you just have no choice but to figure it out. You have to figure it out. And so
that figuring it out, that journey, I want to kind of give our viewers and our listeners the concept of where your journey started in music, in the artistry that, you know, definitely your catalog and your work speaks for itself. So I want to kind of pinpoint that first step on that road that, you know, that you remember, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, it started with, I've always loved music as a kid. You know, I think kids have a very clear sense of who they are at a young age, and then society maybe steers them in a different direction as they get older. But I knew I always loved music. I didn't know it's like what I would do, but you know, it's like one of those things I always say to people, if money and other things didn't matter, what would you just do for the rest of your life? And generally it's something they've been interested in when they were a kid or a teenager, and just music is just always what I was interested in. I loved it. And for me, it was that creative expression, right? It was just being a teenager and I could write a song or make a song or play piano. I just taught myself how to play every instrument, because for me, that was the creative outlet, I guess. And so it really started there. And then, as in with any profession, you start looking up to other people. And for me, it was producers and artists and songwriters and singers. And what are they doing that I need to learn? And it just was nonstop learning something new every day, every week, every year, the ups and downs. But, you know, even today, if I go a week without working on music, even if it's something that no one will ever hear, it's just something I'm working on, I get in a bad mood, because it's just my creative outlet. It's just like what I do that makes me feel good. It makes me feel, I don't know. I'm just like, I could be by myself and waste hours and hours and hours working on songs that no one will ever hear. But for me, that's exciting to me. So, yeah, it started, I would just say, at a young age, I love music. Teenage years is when you start really learning it, and you look up to people and you start crafting it. And then just over the years, just learning more and more. Every day you learn, every couple months you learn. You can't just be like, I know it all and that's it. So it's a fun process for me, because it's half creativity, but half practicality with music, because you can't just go in there and make a song that's all over the place. So I'm that kind of person. Half of my brain is very creative and half of it is strict and kind of like ABC needs to get done, and music like satisfies both of that for me. So I implore other people to find out what triggers that in both the parts of your brain, you know? So for me, that's what it was. It was just music. Yeah. What's the balance? Like, what excites me? What makes me like, and so for me, it was always music.
So, I mean, but the crazy thing is, which I feel like you kind of have to have this, especially it doesn't matter if you're a musician, entertainer, you have to have like multiple things, and you play multiple roles, because there are people who are just the artists, and there are some people who just produce and stay behind the lens, and then there's people who just are songwriters. So was that always, all three of those things, were those always natural for you, or was it something that you were like, okay, I'm coming to LA, I'm here to pursue a dream, and like, fuck this, I got to be a jack of all trades. I got to be like, oh, you want me to write? Cool. You want me to produce? Cool. You want me to be an artist? Cool. Was it always something natural, or did you have to learn those things?
No, I mean, it honestly started with, because I didn't have anybody else to collab with. Like, you know, like not everybody, like, I didn't know that you needed a songwriter separate. I didn't know you needed a producer separate. I just had always done it myself. And then when I learned the industry side of things, like, oh no, this person's just a songwriter. I'm like, wait, that artist didn't write that song? They're like, no, someone else wrote that. I'm like, oh, well, who made the beat? And it's like another person. And I'm like, huh? And when you learn the structure of the industry, I was just like, oh, but all these years had built up of me doing it on my own, just, you know, yeah, just learning on my own. I mean, I'm a huge fan of other genres as well. And so a lot of artists are kind of in their genre, but I love all types of genres. I'm talking from like Temptations, 50s, 60s, Motown stuff, to like, there's some 70s rock to 80s, like Michael Jackson, and then of course hip hop. It's like, I blend all that together. And so, yeah, I don't know that it definitely wasn't a logical, like, okay, this is what I'm going to do. This is a very like thought out process. It just was always, music was like, oh, I can write a catchy hook. Oh, I can make the beat. Oh, I can like rap on or sing on this song. Like, it just happened that way for me. And then as I was saying prior, like, you start learning what other artists do and studying your favorites. And it's a balance of how much work do you want to put in versus the outcome. And for every 10 terrible songs, I get one good one. That's it.
Hey, that's a good way, I feel like, to balance in general. You know what I mean? You're gonna throw shit at the wall and you're like, okay, what's gonna stick and what the hell is gonna fall out of my ass?
Yeah, kind of, yeah. In LA, I mean, the work ethic definitely comes from me, from the East Coast in New York. Like, it's just a grind out there. And when I got to LA, the opposite happened. I was like, does anybody work out here? Does anybody do anything? So especially in this industry, the entertainment industry, anybody watching will tell you this, trying to get a meeting, trying to get an email back, trying to get someone to link up when they say that they're not going to cancel last minute. Like, that is a very real experience in LA. It's very hard to sometimes get everybody on the same page. So I was just very much like, you know what, I'm going to do this on my own. Like, that's it. Like, with my last album, I literally wrote, recorded, mixed everything. I made the entire album by myself because I was tired of waiting on people. I was tired of, you know, everybody canceling last minute or changing up or switching up what they said. And so for me, and when you're forced into that, like, you better figure out how to do it on your own.
That's true.
Good advice across the board, frankly.
Yeah.
I think in terms of that, what's your spin? Because I want to talk about the music video that you've just created. The art of collaborating with somebody and bringing a visual to the new track where it's a little darker, it's a little deeper, it's a little edgier. I really appreciate you being a jack of all trades and you knowing the craft and knowing this. What does it take being able to release your music and kind of your baby and like bringing in another creative that actually kind of sees that vision and works that? Like, how is that for you to do that? And how was it with the new track?
Yeah. So with the new video for the song How It Feels, I just, that song accompanied the whole album as far as I was concerned. So that's why it's the first song on the album. It kind of said everything that when I made that album, I felt. That album has a tone to it. And so, it was just a year of going through a lot. And when I picked that song to do the video for, it's a thing of like self-awareness. You got to know what you're good at and what you're not good at. And I know what I'm not good at, and I know what I'm good at. And sometimes creatives and artists, they don't know what they're good and what they're not good at, and they need an outside voice or an outside person to tell them. It's very similar to a basketball player has all the talent in the world, but without a great coach, that player's lost. Because when you're in it, when you're in the forest, you can't see from the outside. You need somebody truly to say, I get what you're doing. It's not good. We're not doing this. Love this, hate this. This is cool. So With the video, all I did was, I had a vision in my head. So I went ahead and booked all the scenes in the video where we shot, the warehouses, the studios, the rooftops. That was all my vision, because I knew that's going to look great. That's the vision of this song. However, I know nothing about videography or cinematography. And so that needs to be left up to somebody else. Now, I could have been there like, no, I want this angle and we're going to, no, you have to do this. Not my lane. Stay in your lane, Dave. Like for anybody else, like sometimes you got to just stay in your lane. So I knew what I wanted to do.
Thank you.
But I let him take the reins on, listen, I love this shot. I don't know why. This is dope. You figure the shot out. Like, what's the angle here? What do you want? Do you want me doing the hook here? Do you want me doing the verse here? So I just gave the blueprint to David. David then was like, cool, let me sprinkle this on top. And that's the collaborative effort. That's how you get ahead with a dope collaboration. Stand back when you
films, honey. You better work.
Yeah, you just gotta stand aside when you don't know what you're talking about. Like sometimes that's just the case. And hopefully the person you're collaborating with understands that. So let's say, hey, cool idea, get where you're going with that, but that's not for this song, or that's not gonna work in this. And you gotta just trust each other. It's really about trust.
The fusion of the trust. I like this. It's definitely like advice for real life shit too.
In any aspect. Like if I could, like, self-awareness, you got to understand.
And it's hard to have though, especially you got to think about with all the fields I believe that we're all in is, you know, when you've been doing something such a long time and you're like, okay, I'm used to this. It's sometimes hard to take yourself out of your own shoes. So it's growth, right? I mean, I feel like 2020, 2021 is all about growth.
Like you basically have to like, here's the baby. Now go and create that.
Yeah.
Wait, but by the way, we have to give a shout out to David Rivera. He's one
what
who
up, David?
Hello.
We've all worked with David, and he's worked
on another client's music video. I was like, we're keeping him employed during this show.
Yeah, David was super dope to work with. Very cool. Understood what I was saying. Like just understood. Like, okay, I see what you're saying. Let's try it this way. He basically understood exactly where I was going with it. We ended up with the same vision for the most part of the shots, the scenes, the cuts. And so, yeah, you know, it worked. And when the creativity's flowing, you kind of know that that's working. You don't want to press too hard. If you're constantly going back and forth with somebody and it's just not clicking, like, hey, nothing against you, nothing against me. Maybe we don't fit together. Maybe the next project we catch up on because this one's not working. And so there's a lot of that. Again, it's self-awareness. It's very much, it's okay to just say, you know what, we're not going to link on this one because it's just not working. Like, see, don't hate you, not mad at you, but like, let's move on. And for me, I've had the opportunity in music to work with a lot of successful producers and Grammy Award winners and be in the studios with those guys and see how they see me as an artist. And when they say a tip to you, you're like, oh, I never even thought about it that way. But you're seeing it that way because you're letting other people in sometimes. But yeah, like Ariane said, the tricky part is because now it's, well, who are we listening to? Are we letting everybody tell us their thoughts? No, you gotta, right? Because then you're just
firm, flat, no.
Yeah, and then because then you open yourself up to just hate and criticism, and everyone thinks they know better than everyone else, and that's a dangerous spot to be in as well. So it's a tightrope to walk. I think it's probably one of the hardest things about being a creative, especially in LA. It is everyone tells you it's not good. Fine. Am I supposed to be taking constructive criticism? Are they hating on the low? Like, where are we at with what you were saying to me and why? And it's a navigation amongst people and emotions. And that's the hardest part. So you gotta keep that team strong and everyone on the same page, in my opinion.
Woo. Also too, right, enjoying the process with all of that you're even saying. And for people who are listening and want to break into the business, whether that's being a publicist like you, Matt, you know, being an actor or producer, it's yeah.
I've never heard anybody in my time of living in LA that has gone on to be successful that didn't have the same thing I'm telling you about. 1,000 no's. Everybody said it sucked. Nobody wanted to deal with it. That person screwed me over. This person, unfortunately, it makes LA that place that everybody has something bad to say about, like nice weather, but the people suck. Unfortunately, that it gets the bad rap of that. And that's why for me, it was always like close circle, listen to people that I would take advice from, because I know they have the best interest at heart. And you just navigate. Like, that's it. That's all I can say, is you just got to figure that out. But it is extremely hard in any profession. I don't care what you're doing out here. Just the entertainment industry is hard, and I'm sure corporate America is probably similar.
It ain't even LA.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's everywhere. It's everywhere. I mean,
but I think you said the right thing. Like, it's about surrounding yourself with people who want the best for you, who are also going to keep it real, enjoying the process, and having thick skin, because it's not for everybody. Like you said, LA.
Smell the bullshit, honey.
Yes.
Surround yourself and be fooled for a long.
Wait, hold on. Look at this. Hold on. Look what I decided to start reading yesterday.
Bullshit.
Hey, that's a good book.
Yeah.
That's a damn good book.
Which you said, because you were just talking about for people, because you're like, Matt's like, what the hell? It's because you said smell the bullshit. It's talking about intuition and stuff like that. Like, so far what I've gone into the book, like, you know, how you can, an aura and people, and how you can just already peep out someone when you're like, I can smell it. And this, it talks about that in this.
That was a book I read a long time ago, probably one of the first ones I read. And it probably was the first book that opened my eyes up to things that are just that you don't necessarily see, more of feeling, more of understanding why you're getting a feeling if someone around you is like, how many times have you met someone and you're like, then something happens to that person, you've known them for a year, something bad happened, you're like, I've always known, like, I've always felt that about that person. They were like a bad person. They were like always treating people like shit, or whatever the case may be. It's like, trust yourself, because more than likely, I mean, you're probably telling yourself something.
Intuition is on his point.
It really, yeah. I mean, yeah, and that's been one of the hardest things. And I don't know how you guys feel, and now I know Matt that is in Miami, or Ariane who's traveled a lot. Like, when you go to different places, I don't know if you guys feel that same way or not. Or like, very hard to sometimes connect with people that you just know are full of shit. Like, you just know it. Like, you feel it, you can tell, but maybe that's still someone you're supposed to be connecting with, or you're trying to, and it's just, that's the hard part, especially for most people that are kind of a down-to-earth person. It's like really hard to do that in LA.
That's why I feel like we all kind of stay to ourselves. Matt, I feel like you're kind of just, you know, you have your people. Dave, you're like that. I'm like that. We're all very similar in that sense.
Yeah.
So it feels like you have your journey, you have a reinvigorated spirit of some sort after a really tough year. And I feel like it comes and stems from, I mean, there's always dips and troughs and peaks and what have you, but I feel like you're very centered in who you are and what you want for you personally, emotionally, physically, spiritually. What do you want 2021 to look like for you? Like, because I feel like you seem to have really put puzzle pieces together when it comes to, like, even when it's being able to talk to yourself, and like, and that's an art in itself. So where would you like to see in your perfect world, like in a perfect world, if everything aligned, what is Dave Allen doing? What has he done? We're gonna get spicy, juicy bits, but what right now, not related to you, Ariane. I'm just
get some tea, you guys.
What does Dave want to see this year mean for him?
I think it has to be, by the way, you know, thank you for saying that it seems like I have a lot of things in order, because that's not an easy place to get to. There's been a lot of reading books. There's been a lot of like just working on myself
I can see that though. Literally, I could
it's
even in this dimension, I can feel that, because the way you speak, it speaks as if it's been the journey. So it's not like you use your words very, very, not cautiously, but carefully. And I think that reflects in this conversation. And I really have enjoyed listening in terms of seeing a human being that's been through shit and like kind of putting it together for themselves, because nobody else is going to do it for you.
And even the years that I've known you too, Dave, like the growth that, I mean, gosh, how many years have I known you now? What, 4?
Well, yeah.
Yeah, and just to see, like, it's great to actually see people who you surround yourself with who are growing, because if they're not, I feel like they get left behind. So, I didn't mean to intrude.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
Like, to see the growth, you know. But getting back to the question, what is 2021 looking like for Mr. Dave Allen?
Hopefully, and by the way, to jump off of what you said, going through a lot is the reason that I've had to figure out negative emotions. You know, I lost my brother when I was a teenager. I almost died in a house fire when I was 19. I got in a motorcycle accident when I was 21. Like, those things that scare you and death is right in front of you, it makes me very, it makes me appreciate life a lot. And so I want to live that best version of the life. So we got to map out how to get there and figure that all out. So as I was saying, it's a lot of books, it's a lot of working on yourself. So I appreciate you guys acknowledging that, because that is not easy at all. But for 2021, I would love to start producing for other artists. I would love to start. So I have my entertainment company is called FiveStar Entertainment. That's what I release my music through. That's what I released my last album through, the No Way Out album. I am probably going to release 3 to 5 more singles and drop some projects with other artists. I'm going to be working a lot on TV and film stuff. And I'm also working as a producer and the music composer for a movie that is in pre-production called Meth Gator. It's a thriller comedy that we're actually shooting down in Florida. So yeah, all goes well.
Wait, what is Meth Gator?
That's right. I was hoping you'd ask that. Funny you should ask that.
How's Florida doing these days? Meth Gator. Okay.
Meth Gator. All right. So I'm going to give you the rundown real quick without sidetracking. So I was reading an article maybe a year ago, and the article said alligators in Florida becoming extra aggressive. Authorities think that it's runoffs from meth labs dumping their like leftover meth down into, and it's creating these like gators that are like basically on meth. And after I was done wheezing, laughing so hard, because I thought that's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard, I said, it's also a movie. So I call up one of my guys who's a writer, he's in the industry, and I said, what do you think about a comedy thriller, very similar to Over the Top, a Sharknado, a Snakes on the Plane, like one of these movies that aren't so serious, very funny, kind of gory, but a lot of funny parts to it, and just make a comedy. I was like, what if we just make this a hilarious horror comedy? And he goes, I love it, I'll start working on it. And he goes, I'll start working on it. I go, this is a home run. So anyway, we've been through about 6 versions of the script. We finally have the script. We have a meeting this week. I'm gonna be doing all the music for it. So I'll be music supervising as well as composing for it. So that'll be my first movie that I'm actually composing for it. So that could be cool, right? Again, we talked about it's always about moving forward, trying new things. Like, just you gotta try. Execution is everything. Like the idea, anyone can come up with the idea. The execution is key. So yeah, I would say produce for a few more artists, drop a few more records of my own, and get the composition for this movie done. I think it would be hilarious. And Matt, by the way, we are shooting in Florida, in the Miami area, and in kind of south of Sarasota area where my family lives.
Maybe you can use one of our gators here. You never know.
Oh, 1,000%. 1,000%. It's going to be super dope.
Maybe some collaboration. Maybe Matt, you're going to be doing the PR for the movie.
Ariane, we actually wrote a part for you, Ariane.
Oh,
you're in this.
Oh, so we over here dropping some tea?
That's right.
Because you know what they say, that like, I was born with the gift of the gab. Dave Allen was born with like swag. I never met the player, but I feel like he got the and Ariane Andrew was born with it. So tell me a little about this. Should we play a little nugget of something? Do you want to hear a little nugget? And then give me like just a little nugget.
Let's play a little nugget, then tell everybody what it is.
You ready for a little nugget of this? All right. Give me a countdown. 5,
4, 3, 2, and 1.
Now listen, little kid. Wait, you wanna get like this? Queen chick, count money, get rich. I was born with it. Listen, little bitch, I was born with it. Now listen, little yeah.
Okay, can't give any more away.
Let's go.
So Dave, who is that?
That's you. That's not me. That's you.
So you guys who decided to wait to the very end, this was the tea that we wanted to drop because
Dropping.
the tea's dropped. I have my single coming out called Born With It this Friday, January 29th.
Yep.
And the one and only Dave Allen is my producer. So that is the tea.
There you go. That is the tea.
Dylan is the PR.
But hey, this teamwork makes the motherfucking dream work.
Dream work.
That.
That's correct. Yeah.
I'm excited for you guys. I'm very excited to see like the eyes light up, Ariane. It's been a minute since you've had music out. So I think people are very, well, you know, you've got a bajillion projects, but it's like to see your eyes light up. And whenever she was like, oh, I'm with Dave, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. This feels now. This feels right.
Yeah. I mean,
you know, the peeps are like clamoring.
Yeah, well, it's like you said, Dave, right? It's trying things and seeing what sticks. And you know, my favorite saying all the time, Matt, is the worst thing you could ever let a dream do is, you know, to live at a cemetery. I always say that, you know, it's like, hey, you have a passion, try it. If it works, great. But if it doesn't, you can say, well, you know what? At least I had the balls to execute, period.
Yep.
Absolutely. And both, like, I don't think there's anybody that can say ever that you, ma'am, have not executed shit. Because it's consistent. And my hat's off to you, girl. And I'm so proud of you. And I can't wait to, you know, buy your single on Friday. No, motherfuckers, you are not illegally downloading this shit.
Just listen, little bitch.
Oh, she was born with it.
With my slippers.
Girl, bye. I'm excited for you guys. I think it's going to be an amazing Friday.
I agree. I'm excited. Everybody needs to go add that to playlist. Keep playing it. I mean, when I produced the song, and by the way, me and Ariane were working on music for a while. And, you know, sometimes you just got to keep going back to the drawing board. We had other songs that we were working on, but when I made this one, I was like, wait a second. Let me see if she's still down for this. And she was like 1,000%. And so it really came across very natural. And just seeing the artwork and everything, once you start putting visuals to music, it changes the dynamic of the song completely. So once that music video comes and we keep pushing it out, it's just going to be super dope. And I'm just thankful to be a part of it. It's going to be dope.
2021 is fire.
It is fire. And just, you know, even though this interview is about you, Dave, I just want to say, like, I'm proud of everybody who is here right now. Matt, super proud of you, what you're doing over at ZWF and the things that you're making happen for 2021 with all your clients. So kudos to you for pussy popping for 2021. And Dave, to you as well. You know, should we do some rapid fires or we just gonna wrap this shit on up?
We're gonna wrap it up.
Whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter to me.
We're gonna rapidly wrap this up. Well, anyways, for people who are living under a rock, Dave, let everybody know where they can follow you at, where they can listen to your music, the whole nine. Go ahead and spill the tea.
Yeah, cool. So the name's just Dave Allen, Spotify, Apple Music, anywhere you get music. Instagram's Dave_Allen. And my last album, No Way Out, is out right now. How It Feels, the song that we listened to in the beginning. The music video just dropped. YouTube, all that stuff. I'm out there. Search around, stalk me out, DM me, say what up. All the above.
Love it.
Where can everybody follow you at, Matt?
You can follow me at Matt Dillon 1983 and Lady Love.
Everybody can follow me across the board at Ariane Andrew. And of course, go pre-save my single, Born With It, with my guy over here, Dave Allen, who produced it. And of course, follow Sippin' the Tea TV show on Instagram and on Twitter, Sippin' the Tea TV1. And don't forget, guys, we are also a podcast and you can stream this audio on all digital platforms. And we're going to catch you guys same time, same place of another episode of Sippin' the Tea TV show.
You better work it out.
Thank you, guys.
Yes.
I'm rolling in LA, I'm in that drop.